Hey everybody, it's Logan Hall, and I'm back for another grill stream today. Today we're doing smoked chicken wings. Again, because of how StreamYard works, I have to start the stream on my desktop, let myself in over the iPhone, and then I can start streaming. I'm walking to my back patio right now, and I will show you what's going on once I get there. So let me open the door. All right. All right. So I got the camera on here. Again, it's like 9. Go ahead and flip the camera and kind of show you what I've already done here. So let's go to flip. All right. So what I have over here is my Traeger. And essentially, these wings have been going now for about an hour at 180. So again, I'm kind of doing this in kind of two steps here. Uh, Again, so seems like the purpose of the Traeger is really more just to get that initial sort of smoke flavor. And again, it kind of cooks it sort of. So once I have this done, I actually have sort of phase two over here at the Kamado Joe. So I do have a fire started over here, and essentially what we're going to do is we're going to do that same thing again, where we do the sort of rotisserie style here. So I actually have a neat gadget here that I just picked up. It's a rotisserie basket, and so essentially what will happen is I'm going to take these guys from the Traeger, and then I'm going to put them in here, and then we're going to slap that on the Kamado Joe. The purpose of the Kamado Joe is more, for this cook at least, is more to um, essentially, get a char on them, because again, the Traeger is kind of covering the whole smoky flavor part and cooking it sort of most of the way through. But again, the Kamado Joe is going to help us get that nice char on it too. So that's the plan. And I'm going to go ahead and see if there's anybody that has joined us here. Let's go to the chat. Not quite yet. Folks, if you do want to be led on the stream, let me know. Oh, geez, man, the light is terrible. Oh, okay, so that's okay. Um, so if you are watching this and you do want to be led on the stream, tell me in the chat, because again, because of my situation with the whole StreamYard desktop versus mobile thing, I have to essentially go upstairs, go to my office, let you in over the desktop, and then come back down here. Um, so again, sort of a pain, but I think that's what sort of everybody has to do when they're first starting out with StreamYard. I think you need like 1,000 streaming hours or something like that to essentially have access to start and host streams over mobile. Um, so anyway, so yeah, so these guys are pretty much ready here to go into the Kamado Joe. Now what I'm doing is I'm just waiting for the Kamado Joe to again sort of get up to temperature. I'm targeting somewhere around 350 to 400. Again, the purpose of the Kamado Joe is more to get a char on it and not necessarily like cook the wings, right? Um, so that's the plan. Um, how has everybody's day been? I've had a nice day. Again, so I mean, like it's hot here in Nashville, right? So there's not too much to do that you know that's sort of fun and that you're not gonna sort of melt your face off, I guess. Um, but again, I mean, I do like being outside. I do like you know grilling and whatnot, right? Um, so anyway, I did watch the men's Olympics. Sorry, it's like the men's basketball in the Olympics, and they won the gold medal. So that was really cool. Um, my Titans are playing later tonight actually, and they're playing Georgia's team actually, the 49ers. So still getting, so that's George Vargas. Um, so that'll be cool. Again, this is preseason, right? So I mean, it's not exactly super exciting. I mean, like it's not technically real. Like you're not really playing for anything. But again, I think it's you know it's football, right? I mean, like we haven't had football in months, right? So I mean, it's nice to actually have something to sort of watch and sort of cheer for, even if it's not you know for the real thing, I guess. Um, but uh, but anyway, that's my plans. They come on around 6 Central, I believe. Um, by the time that I'm done with this cook, I mean they'll probably be sort of 5 or 10 minutes into the game, and again that's probably when I'll close things off here. But anyway, they will. The wings will probably be in the Kamado Joe for like 40 to 45 minutes. Again, so what we're doing is we're kind of finishing up the internal cooking and then also getting a nice char on them as well. Um, and so once we do that, they'll be ready to eat. Um, I do like to usually like make my own sauces and sort of like my own like hot sauce, like and things like that. I'm gonna try just having them, I guess, plain this time because I'm trying out a new seasoning, and sort of anytime I do a new seasoning, I prefer to, I guess, to start with that seasoning and like taste the seasoning. Do I like it? The seasoning that I'm using is from Meat Church. So this is the Holy Gospel. They have a lot of different sort of options like for barbecue and whatnot. And what I've read online is this one's really good for wings, anything chicken related. They also have one called the Holy Voodoo. So that's more of a like a Cajun style like chicken seasoning. You got like some jalapenos like like the Creole style, right? Um, but anyway, I decided to uh, use use the Holy Gospel this time and see how it turns out. Um, I'm usually not like the biggest fan of like pre-made seasonings. I do usually like to like make my own seasonings first, meaning, I measure out, you know, 10 grams of paprika, 10 grams of garlic powder, or just sort of play around with it, because I like to have control over sort of how much of something I have in in the the seasoning, right? I usually do that for briskets. Like, but again, briskets are fairly simple. Garlic powder, salt, pepper. Um, so a little bit of the paprika, sort of, But anyway, um, so what I'd like to do now actually is go ahead and check on my fire, um, and we're gonna go to the Kamado and see what that looks like now. So, so that's actually looking pretty good. I do want them to be a little bit more white in color. So I have the open vent, or sorry, it's like I have the top vent open right now, and then I also have the bottom vent open sort of all the way. What this does is it allows sort of more air to come through and essentially uh, have a stronger fire and whatnot. Whenever that actually gets to again 350 400, I'll probably, sorry, my tripod's not that steady. Um, Once we get to 350 400, I will essentially close those vents. Well, not close the vents, but again, keep them open just enough to maintain the temperature that we've sort of achieved, right? Um, but that's the plan. So, um, so here again, I'm thinking that it'll take another 5 to 10 minutes to get the fire where I want it to. After that, we're going to take the wings off and we will essentially put them in the basket sort of live with you guys. Again, this is the first time I'm using this basket, so that's why it looks so clean. Um, but what I've read sort of online is it's very hard to sort of keep these baskets, clean. Sort of even if you throw it in the dishwasher, um, I mean, it's not going to get sort of every speck, so you do have to do some hand washing there. Um, but uh, but anyway, so that's what we'll do here in about 5 to 10 minutes. This stream probably won't be as long as the first grill stream that I did. Again, this is the second one I'm doing. The first one was a little bit longer, like I guess like 2 hours. This one probably be like an hour, I would say. But again, I mean, like it doesn't have to be a super long stream, right? I mean, hey Mathis, man, hey, thanks for joining, man. I appreciate it. Mathis, if you do want to be let in sort of onto the show, tell me in the chat because because the way that like my StreamYard is set up right now, I can't let you on through my mobile. So like StreamYard is technically running through my desktop upstairs, and I have to go upstairs, let you in, and then come back down here. So it's kind of a pain. Again, it's like I think it's like a 1,000 streaming hour thing. Um, so that's sort of like my limitation as a newer streamer, I guess. Um, but again, Matt, I do appreciate you joining, sort of supporting here. Uh, so again, I'm not sure when you actually. Let's see. Okay, 5:11. What time is it now? Actually, so you joined about 2 minutes ago. Again, I'm not sure if you heard. Sorry, by the way, that might have went black there for a minute. I just wanted to check the time. But sorry, I've got a wicked glare right now. I can barely see the chat. We also have Evan here, I believe. Oh no, sorry, that is Eddie Mao. Hey, Eddie, thank you. Okay, Eddie. So again, thank you for joining, brother. Really appreciate it. Just to give you a quick sort of rundown here. You know what? Let me actually let me give you guys a rundown again in case you're just now joining. So I'm gonna flip my camera around. If I remember how to do that. Okay. So what I have here is my Traeger. Again, this is sort of like my primary smoker for quite a while. Again, it's a pellet smoker, but again, I do have a lot of chicken wings in here, right? So that's like, sort of like 2 dozen or so. Um, these have been going on for a little over an hour right now, and it's been sitting at 180. Um, so sort of one cool thing is you can also do sort of the super smoke option on here if you want. Personally, like I don't want these to be too smoky. I think the combination of both like the standard smoke and the and again sort of the Kamado Joe over there will be sort of smoky enough. But this is sort of a two-part cook. So I'm using the Traeger for essentially getting the internal temp sort of, sort of at least sort of halfway there. But then I'm using the Kamado Joe to essentially do the final kind of sear on it, and I'm going to be doing that in this basket here. So I was just talking about this basket just a moment ago. I just bought it. It's actually supposed to be for the Napoleon. So this is my gas grill. Again, sort of quick sort of weeknight cooks and whatnot. That's when I use gas. But I bought this because it apparently fits on the Kamado Joe too. Um, I, I did test it out, prior to starting the stream, and it like barely fits. I am a little bit concerned about these sort of holders here. So you have these like on either side. When I was initially doing, so like my first sort of, I guess, testing, these might scrape a little bit on the sides here, but I'm hoping that that's not a huge issue. But again, let's check this fire while we're here. So these are getting more and more white. Again, I'm probably going to give it probably another 5 minutes or so. And then after that, we're going to take the wings off over there, put them in the basket, and then we'll put the basket on here. This might seem sort of like overkill to most people. Like, you know, you're thinking like, man, you're using like 2 grills to like do wings, man. You know, I mean, I can do wings in my oven, bro. Right. Um, but again, since I have these tools available to me, I figure sort of why not get, you know, crazy, right? There's sort of get sort of more creative, you know, and sort of use what tools you have available to you to make the best possible product. Um, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Sir Eddie. Appreciate that, man. Yeah, so that's the Ironwood 650. It's sort of their like mid-level pellet smoker. They do have like older models that are sort of, you know, fine too. Um, you know, you can pick them up for a few $100 on sort of, you know, marketplace, right? Um, but I want to say I paid like 400 or maybe 500 for that one. Um, and I just got the Classic III here, the Kamado Joe, um, a little over a month ago. Like, actually, you know what? Maybe even longer than that now. Like, it might be closer to 2 months now. Um, but that was also on Marketplace for like a really good deal. Um, Eddie, I like to keep the lid open when I heat up my green egg. Feel like it just get hotter faster. You know, you're right. You know, technically, like more air means, you know, a greater, you know, fire too. What I do actually have currently going on here is, I'll put my camera back around. Uh, so I mean, I do have the top vent open for all the way, and I also have the bottom vent open all the way. But I will actually give that a shot though. You know, let me just kind of leave that open for, you know, just so I can see if they get sort of more and more wide, because that's kind of what we're targeting here. Let me go back. All right, so yeah, I'll give that a shot, man. We'll see if that ultimately, you know, gets it hotter faster. Right? Um, so when I was originally doing research for this recipe, um, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys just sort of do the whole thing in the Kamado Joe, you know, and you know, like that works perfectly fine too. But I figured, like, you know, I mean, it's like okay, like so here's the thing: you can't change temperature quickly on a Kamado Joe or even like a big green egg, um, because again, sort of this first half was like 180, right? And that was on the Traeger. The second half was much hotter, like 350, 400. Um, and I figured, you know, the Kamado Joe might not be the best for like super low and slow type of cooking. Um, I mean, you can definitely do it, but you have to be like really careful, or not careful, but you just have to be like playing with like the vents sort of constantly to make sure that it doesn't get hotter or colder. Um, you know, because again, the whole sort of premise of what the you're going to sort of the you're going to be a Kamado Joe is, you know, sort of vent control. That's how you're going to you know, sort of adjust your temperature. They're similar to like a Weber grill too, so those are much more sort of, you know, in reach and whatnot. And I do actually have a super small sort of like Weber sort of junior over there for the next like the gas grill. That was my charcoal solution for like the longest time, until I decided to get the Kamado Joe. Um, but anyway, you know, they also have a vent sort of at the bottom, and that sort of allows you to adjust sort of how hot or how cold you want your grill. I mean, I guess it's not technically cold. Like, you know, it's like sort of how much heat do you want? Do you want more heat or less heat? I guess that's more accurate. Um, but it's been a couple minutes now. Hey, Ryan Singer, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Um, so uh, I'm gonna go back over here and see if uh, theory was correct here. Let's see what our polls are looking like right now. I do have to agree. Like, it is getting maybe hotter quicker. So you know what? I think I will just keep it open, um, open for, you know, it's like another few minutes here. One quick thing, I guess, like some people might ask, like what charcoal I'm using. I'm just using the standard sort of Kamado Joe for the big block, um, you know, option here. One thing I do want to try is there's another brand called Fogo. I did end up getting a bag of it like at Home Depot not too long ago, actually. But I'll probably use that whenever like that bag goes down or whatnot. Um, so so anyway, so let me go to the chat here. Cool. All right, so we got Ryan, we got Eddie Mal, we got Matt. That's cool. Again, like this is only like my second like stream technically. So again, I'm not expecting huge numbers or anything. I did put this in the colony chat though. So so that's how I'm getting most of my traffic right now. But again, I'm hoping it's a bit more sort of natural and sort of organic sort of later on. Um, just in case you don't know, actually, it's like this channel that I'm using. Um, I used to play guitar and bass like quite often, sort of in like my childhood. I started playing guitar like maybe uh, like freshman year of high school, I guess. And then I started playing bass like maybe like 2 years after that, mainly because I thought like guitar was getting like too hard, basically. I felt like it kind of like plateaued a little bit, and so I like thought like, oh, you know what, I'll switch over to bass, because that seems easier, like less strings and whatever. Uh, but for a while, I played both. Um, and even like in high school, I sort of also played quite a bit. I was in the jazz band, sort of playing bass, and I was also part of sort of several garage bands too, sort of growing up in my youth, I guess, and we played shows sort of here and there. But again, I say all that to say that this channel used to be full of like my cover videos. I would cover like a lot of like hard rock and heavy metal. I mean, so every like teenage boy goes through like that heavy metal phase, right? They love Metallica, they love like Megadeth, like they love sort of all these hard rock sort of type of music. So I mean, I still do have those videos. They're just like not listed right now. Um, but uh, but again, so that's what this channel kind of like used to have. Again, I've kind of hidden all that because one, because it's kind of like embarrassing, I guess, and then two, I don't want like all the colony folks to sort of come over here and be like, hey, I thought this was a grilling channel. Like, why is this like 16-year-old kid playing bass, right? So anyway, looks like Eddie Mal. I certainly use my ceramic cooker for searing, so I get it hot as fuck. Reverse sear is my yes. So let's talk about that a little bit. I definitely agree that like essentially so how I typically do my steaks is so it really depends on the steak thickness and sort of the cut of steak. Um, if I have a steak that's like maybe cheaper and maybe less than 1 inch, you can get away with like just doing both the internal and the sear sort of all in the same sort of you know cooking vessel, if you would, um, because essentially by the time that you get your sear looking good on a steak that thin, um, you can essentially take it off, sort of cover it in foil, and the internal temp will get it to roughly like a medium rare, right? Um, Now, if I'm cooking a larger steak, like let's say it's 1.5 inches, 2 inches, maybe even 3 inch, like maybe we're going crazy and doing like a tomahawk. Um, if it's like really big, I actually prefer to do sous vide first, and then get the charcoal ripping hot, and then sear on the charcoal. Um, Now, what again? So sort of the reverse sear sort of method. Again, 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 like it's been a while since like I've actually studied this a little bit, but essentially you you do the internal temp cooking first and then you do the sear, or you do the sear first and then you do the internal temp, because again every good steak is kind of broken out by two sort of two parts, right? You got the sear and then you have the internal temp part. You can have two totally different methods on how you get or how you achieve both of those. But again, get like a thicker steak, I prefer to do either like, the internal part in either the oven or a sous vide, or, uh, or, or, or even like a smoker, right? I mean, if you have like a cowboy ribeye or something, or like some sort of big tomahawk, maybe you do want that sort of smoky flavor, right? So again, you can do the internal part like several different ways. Um, but again, I think the only way to do the crust or sort of the sear is through ripping hot charcoal. You can't so sort of one sort of cool feature about the Napoleon over there, the smoky gas grill. I have a side burner, and it's sort of like infrared, right? So it gets up like to 800, 900 degrees. I have seared on that before. Um, what I find, I guess, sort of interesting about that, I guess, is like the sear can be pretty strong and leave pretty strong marks, but the spaces in between the sear marks are still pretty gray and maybe like not all that good looking. So I mean, I use that sometimes for certain applications, but I don't always use that. Again, I prefer to do the sort of charcoal sort of searing method. Um, Internal first on Traeger, then ceramic uh, coal cooker. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. Exactly. I typically like to cover the internal part first, and then do the sear at the end. Um, but I've also done it like the other way around. Like you start out with a sear, and then you bring it up to temp. Um, now, Eddie, um, do you have like a Bluetooth thermometer or anything? Because I use the meter app. That works pretty well for me. Um, but I know that like there's other products out there, that are very similar. All right, let's take a look at what we got going on here. So I think that's pretty good already. I think one thing I want to do actually is kind of spread this out a little bit more. Um, you know what? And I think I will add a little bit more charcoal in here too. So you know what? Let me grab a hot glove real quick, and then I'll be right back. Let me go on mute real quick. All right, I'm back. No, I do all by feel and timing. Interesting. You know what? So like, so that's definitely like one camp. Here, let me flip you guys around and sort of continue to talk while I put some more coal in. Um, but so if you work in a professional kitchen, um, and you do this for a living, I totally get the feel and sort of like doing it by fingers and your palm trick. I If you are someone who is not working in sort of kitchens all the time, and you're not making steaks all the time, uh, it's pretty hard to be accurate with that method, because again, you so since you do it all the time, you may kind of forget like, oh, okay, that feels rare, that feels like medium and whatnot. Um, I do use a thermometer, uh, and again, I mean, I do like